So I want to ask you what that ball is. I mean, what's in there?
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain more about that?
Well, this is just electromagnetic open-closed circuitry. But what it represents for us is looking at it is the connection that we all share, this energetic connection. We don't seem to think that anything's real unless it's a physical, something we can see. And yet science will tell you that everything is energy, and we're just a denser form of it. So this is a wonderful visual of that connectedness that we are. And it's just simple open and closed circuitry. Just like a light, turn on switch, turn switch off. And we think about the cell phone.
Yeah, so like energy is something we don't learn in school about it, particularly not about human energy. Yeah. So, for example, we all know that we only can talk on the cell phone because there are frequencies that are being accessed, just like radio frequencies, microwaves frequencies, and so forth. We cannot see them, just as we cannot see the vibrations that go from my vocal cord to your eardrums, and then you can hear it. However, it's very much real. There are vibrations that are going from here to there. So in that way, energy runs through us all the time, otherwise we wouldn't be alive. We wouldn't be sitting here. And at the base of all energy is sexual energy, because sexual energy is the most powerful energy there is. It brings forth life. Mm-hmm. And that is the energy we are cultivating in the work we are doing, in the work we are in with each other and with our students when we teach, is to bring awareness to that miraculous energy that has brought us into the world and that is accessible to us. All we need to do is to bring our awareness to it so that we can guide that energy for both men and women. We can guide it from the lower centers all the way up to the higher centers and then back down again. By that, both the non-aroused as well as the aroused energies, sexual energies, get actually dispersed through the body, enliven the body, shifts my feeling, my sensations. I want to really point out that sexual energy is not only for having orgasms, and that too. And of course, through the work we are doing here at Tantra Nova, people learn more and tap more into that wonderful dimension of their being so that that energy can flow freely.
And, bringing it all back is a very practical application to this sexual energy and drawing on this energy. It's like there's this quantum field, this gestalt, all of it's connected. So my feelings, my emotions, my experiences, my socialization, and what happens in being able to create my dreams when my ego says, hey, I did the good stuff, but the bad stuff is out there, and it's because of her, and it's because of this, and because of that. When we really get that we are creating our reality, our life, moment by moment, and we can really start to drop out of this illusion, which is what happens in the sexual energy. So learning the practice of consciousness, awareness, and building more capacity as the observer, we call it. Also drawing on that sexual intelligence, that joy, and that creativity with an intention, we start to, again, being able to get out of our own way to create our dreams come true. That's the practical application to all of this. How can we live our lives more happily, more fully, more creatively expressed?
What about the gazing part? How do you feel when you gaze at each other? What are you? Is there a thought there, or are you empty when you gaze at each other? Are you looking at each other as one and equal as self, or are you looking at the other person as a separate being? Would you answer that?
It's a great question. So when I gaze into Freysental's eye, and we gaze into the left eye, because the left eye is correlated to the right brain hemisphere, and so it allows us to tap more quickly into the feeling state versus the linear thinking state, the other side of the brain. So by gazing and breathing together, I actually come to stillness, and I'm getting more and more out of looking at him, just to be with him while I'm being with myself. the breath and the circulating of the breath helps me to come into that focused stillness, where there's nothing else there, where we are just being together. He's still him, I'm still me. Yet there's a connection in the present moment.
That oneness connection, are you talking about that oneness connection?
Yes, you know, with oneness, it's like we are one and we are separate all the time. So this place, because when you ask me where am I, and I speak, I'm both in the stillness with him, as well as I'm reflective, which actually takes me out of the oneness.
So maybe I can also say about the gaze. So the gaze, when we gaze, allows us to really get in touch with letting go of all the thinking we do. We live in this conversation. So in the gaze, we're able to gaze and let go, and in the breath, we're able to be in our bodies, and we're able to let go of the thinking and the evaluating and all of the mind chatter that goes on. So it's developing, again, more capacity to stillness, more capacity like that electric ball, the connectedness that we are, getting out of our own way.
Cool. Very cool. Okay, and what about the transference of the hand part of it?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel? What do you feel?
Sending and receiving energy. Well, one of the practices that we teach in more of the advanced practice is really circulating this orgasmic nectar, we call it, in the breath, and sending it on the exhalation, receiving on the inhalation, sending.
Through the heart.
You can do it several ways. Yeah, through the heart, through the sixth chakra, through coitus. You can do many ways. But the beginning part of it is to begin to just be aware of the subtle breath and the movement of energy in the inhalation and the sending on the exhalation. And there's specific meditations that we teach that develop more capacity to do that. Again, all that's in service of becoming just more aware of our own energy and how we are sharing and being and creating and putting our energy out there.
So are you receiving and sending in the same point, or are you sending and receiving in two different points?
You can choose.
Yeah. Oh, there's no rules there.
Yes.
Right.
With our particular practice, the heart
Right.
connecting practice is that we received
Yeah.
in the heart center, and on the exhalation, I visualize sending the breath out, sending my love energy
On the right
into his heart
arm.
center. Bring the breath in.
Receiving.
Receiving on the left arm, through the left arm, going to the heart.
It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't
but it's,
really
it's
matter,
really
but
the
it's
focus
somehow-
of breath. Focus
Okay.
of
Yeah. I experience when I breathe in that I receive through his right hand, which is connected to his heart center, his love energy.
Okay.
When I exhale, I send from my heart center into his
And
heart
I'm
center.
receiving on the inhalation. She's receiving on the inhalation, sending on the
Beautiful.
exhalation. And what's interesting is the sending hand, fingertips start to throb after you really start getting a sense of your focus.
And what does that do with your arousal state or your
Well, then you
sexual-
apply that in your sexual arousal energetic.
And that's
So-
what we're going to talk about in the next video. Cool.
Okay.